Welcome to Bendy. Join your two favorite transatlantic weirdos, Andy from Ireland and Beth from the USA, as we take you on a journey through every topic imaginable, with insight, vulnerability, and fart jokes, or in other words, the complete human experience.
Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young and I'm one of your hilarious, mirthful hosts. Joining me as always is our other hilarious and mirthful host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always.
Oh, Andy, it's so good to talk to you. What does mirthful mean?
Full of joy, I guess. I sort of feel it's joyful. Because mirth's like, the act of being... I was going to say mirthful. I was going to explain what mirthful was by using the word mirthful. Great stuff, Andy. I mean, it's just being full of joy. Joyful, I guess, is a better word for that.
Okay. I like it. Thank you. I'm always excited. I'm like, what are we going to be this week?
I do have a theme. I'm choosing them to be on theme, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
So our listeners can try and guess what we're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Even though they already know, because I'm already working on the publicity.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So Beth, what's the crack with you this week?
The crack. I went camping, and it's funny just because it's almost the end of October, and it's not something I'm used to doing because we didn't live somewhere that was really possible unless you had a camper, or what do you call them, a caravan?
Yeah,
do you call them campers?
Yeah. I guess we do have campers, but they're just not as common here. But yes, we do have some.
Okay, so they're very common here. We have a tent, and it was good. It was really windy. Charlie was freaking out because of the wind, and Mike was like, "I'll buy you a Nintendo Switch if you like. If anything happens, I will like. This is how far away that possibility is." But by the end of the weekend, I wasn't feeling well one of the days, and so I just went up for one night. And but by the end of the weekend, the pop-up tent went in the dumpster. So it was funny, but it was interesting because it's an hour from here, and there were definitely mountain lions because I found all the scat, all the shit everywhere, and then they had bighorn sheep, which I've never seen before, and I actually didn't see there, but I know they're there now, and it's there was no light pollution, so nice. There were just millions and millions of stars, and it was great. And there were mineral springs that you can go in, and it was quite sweet. So
that sounds lovely.
Yeah. What's the crack with you, my friend?
Should have thought about this. I guess I suppose the biggest crack with me is that I think I might have told you before, I work at a job at the weekends. Mm-hmm. So I think I found something else.
Ooh,
which
exciting.
I'm very grateful for because I am very tired of working every Friday, every Saturday night.
That's such a bummer.
Oh, truly. It's really... and I'm good at getting depressed. I'm, as you know, I'm a professional.
Aren't we both?
At depression. Yes, we are. We could go into the major leagues. But it's making it worse. So I needed to move away from it. So I'm hopefully handing in my notice tomorrow. So that's exciting.
Okay. Well, it's good that we're posting this anywhere for a couple weeks. So
yeah, this is true.
No one will know, but
no. Nobody from that company would listen to this anyway. Not a chance.
Are you going to do something else to replace that?
Yeah, I have I hopefully have basically I was doing 12 hours in this place over the course of the week. I found a place that can give me 10 hours on a Sunday, so it's a brutal Sunday, but it smashes out all the sort of work I need to do to pay my bills in a day.
Yeah.
And it gives me...
Yeah. Your weekends
so much time to do gives me my weekends back, gives me so much time during the week. I don't have to stop doing all the stuff that I like doing during the week, so it's definitely a good trade-off. So that's the crack with me. That's kind of what I've been working on this week.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask a follow-up question to something we talked about I think in our first episode. Are you still doing your mood charting?
Oh yes, I forgot. Yes, I have been. It's
How's it
interesting
going?
because so I had done like I had a decent week last week, and I forgot for a week, which was interesting. And I did write that in the diary. I said, look, I have not done it this week, and it doesn't really occur to me to do it when I'm feeling okay. But I've been charting again this week. As I don't know, like this week started off okay, but then it's kind of got worse as the week has went on. So yeah, it's still kind of tough. It's kind of tough to put it down. It's kind of tough looking back and seeing, like, there's definitely been a few days since I've started doing it, which is what, over a month. I'm looking back at certain days and I'm like, oh, this is dark, you know. But there's a lot of days when it's just like it's okay. But I suppose what strikes me about it is that I don't think I do anything more than, I don't go higher than okay, you know. Which is which is interesting. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know how true that is. It's an interesting document in that, you know, I'm going to be presenting this to somebody eventually, and, you know, it's like, I think I want to also prove to them that there's something going on with me, so, you know, I suppose there's that level to it as well. But so I'm trying to be as honest as possible, but, you know, it's easier said than done sometimes.
And it's also interesting that you don't remember when you're feeling okay, you don't remember to do it. Like, that's
It is.
probably, I mean, I know you're supposed to be doing the mood diary, but it's not necessarily a bad thing when you forget, if it means that you're not aware of the fact that you're feeling, you know, down in the dumps.
Exactly.
So it's both things.
It is.
But do you remember the last time where you were like, yeah, like that you would have written that in your diary?
I don't think I have. You know, that's a good question. You mean, yeah, prior to me doing this, I guess it would have been. It's certainly been a while. Like, I suppose, you know, all my sort of moments are when I'm with people and, you know, spending time with people I care about. And so, like, all my moments in recent months have been, like, our trip to Portugal, some festivals I went to with friends, when I was just like, I am in a safe space with people I care about, who I can be open with, and, you know, can just, with people that you can be open with, you can also have fun with those people as well. You know what I mean? You have the whole smorgasbord of all that sort of, you know, rich sort of relationship. So I guess that. So, like, I guess it's so rare for me to feel like that on my own, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting. So
I wonder if
probably,
anyone feels like totally like the complete joy when they're by themselves. I wonder, who are those people? Let's
There's
interview
gotta
them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So.
I don't know. Listeners,
Yeah,
if you
it's
feel
true.
joy when you're by yourself, let us know. And
And
how.
I pray that you do. Yeah,
I
tell
do
us your
too, right?
Yeah,
Tell us your ways.
I hope you're feeling joy all the time. That would be nice. Yeah.
I mean, that's supposed to be a Buddhist state, right? It's just like
Yeah.
living in joy,
Bliss. Yeah.
bliss.
I see the appeal for sure, and I mean, you know.
But all that work, man.
Exactly right, and I don't like, and I mean, obviously, I don't think any state of being is achievable all the time, but, you know, more consistently would be nice, you know.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
Yeah. I've told you this, but I've had to switch medications, and so I had to get off of one and get onto the other, and the in between was really brutal.
Yeah.
And I think I'm through the worst of it, but there's no shame in the medication game, and I didn't really know. I now know I need it,
Yeah.
and I can't really like fathom the fact that I went so long without it. And I'm just gonna spill, like, my whole thing is that I have long COVID. I've had long COVID since well, I got sick Friday the 13th of 2020, and it's been a real roller coaster from that point on until, I mean, I'm still on it, on this fun journey. But what it did was it depleted me of all of my dopamine and my serotonin. And so my body right now doesn't, maybe it will someday, but right now it's not making those things on its own. And so I have to fill it with something in order to get myself out of the big, deep, dark well, as I like to call it. So I'm happy to be on the medication that I'm on now. It's starting to work, but it's like choppy waters.
Yeah.
It's snotty out there, as Mike would say, when you're out on the boat. Out there. Yeah.
And it's tough water to chart. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know, and I may be facing that soon as well, and I am kind of dreading it, to be honest with you. You know, like, I don't like the idea of. I mean, there's been a few days whenever I have like run out of medication, and it's always not a good few days.
Yeah, right. Right.
So yeah, but you know,
this is life.
We'll get there. I know, such as it is, and I guess it'll help us, right? That's the theory, anyway.
Yeah, and I think honestly, just talking about it and not, at least in our culture, I think we're coming out of the shame bubble around, you know, medication and mental health, but there's still a stigma.
There is, I think there's such a like 2 steps forward, 1 step back with it, or sorry, 1 step forward, 2 steps back with this. Do you know what I mean? Like, once you start making progress down this path, so many people are just like, no, let's push it all back down into the box again. We liked it there, or we're used to it there at least anyway. You know.
Right.
Which is, you know, a different nightmare.
So do you want to
remember like? Sorry.
No, go.
I remember. You know, I feel it's like 2010 or thereabouts, and I was like, things generally seem to be on an upswing. You know, people seem to be. This is, you know, just from my experience. Things seem to be getting better, and then there was just a shift. It was like the shift that certainly in the culture that I kind of know of was the whole Gamergate thing. I don't know if you know about this.
No, please tell me about Gamergate.
I will butcher it because it's been years since I've really looked at it. Essentially,
listeners, forgive us. Like, we're doing the best we can
us. Do. Yes, this is so essentially, a female developer who coded this game had a relationship with this other guy who I think was also a developer, and I don't know the back and forth in terms. I can't remember the back and forth in terms of what happened with their relationship, but it all got really public, and then everybody got involved, and it became a real sort of, you know, it was the sort of like start of the whole sort of, you know, manosphere recent sort of trend where guys were pushing back against women and things like that, and it's kind of a nightmare. It is an interesting thing to read about though, but it was kind of like. It felt like a flick was or a switch was sort of flicked, and it was like, oh yeah, here we go, we're back down into the bullshit again. You know? But it's good. It's an interesting one. Something we could, you know, that's maybe something we could talk about, or those sorts of things. You know, it's an interesting one to get into actually.
I'm gonna Google it once we're off of here. That's the hard thing about. I mean, I love having all of the information at my fingertips. But when you're recording a podcast and you can't be like, hold on, let me Google it, silence, right? Yes. And then everyone's like, here's what it actually is. It's like, you know, that's hard.
But it's one of the, like, I mean, certainly I have, you know, listened to podcasts and like, you know, they are talking about something and I'm like, they're like, what's that thing called? What is that called? Like, so, a podcast I listen to.
Yeah. It's like screaming at Jeopardy.
Yes. Like, my friend, they were talking about Sopranos, and they were trying to remember. What Little Steven's character was called, and they were like making guesses, and I was like, "It's Silvio! It's Silvio!"
Did I ever tell you that there used to be this it was like a car museum in Las Vegas, and it was free. You could go to it. And you could see like one of the cars that Kennedy drove in, and another car that like was Marilyn Monroe's or whatever. It wasn't the car that Kennedy died in. It was just like one of his
Okay.
like, beautiful, what was it, Cadillac, or I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. But
Okay.
they actually had the Tony Soprano car from the first 3 seasons. It was the red Suburban,
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
and it had the baseball bat on the dashboard, and then you would pull down the visor and it said "Take care of my car, James Gandolfini." And I was like, Mike, this was when I was making like $30,000 a year. I was like, I think we need this. This is the car. This is the car. And then we look at the price tag. It was $140,000, and I'm like, how can we make this work? How do we do this?
Yikes.
And I saw it for
Nice.
sale. He found it first. It was for sale again last year, and I'm so jealous. So yeah, if you're that person, I would love to take that car for a ride and hit some stuff.
And I hope you're taking care of it for James Gandolfini as
That's
well.
right.
That's very important.
Because I'm watching. I'm waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't put too many miles on that car.
So we segue now into our topic
Yes.
for today.
Let's
Does
do
that
it.
sound nice?
Yeah.
So our topic today is laughter.
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 Love
and I guess
it.
all of the things that means. So well, I guess we'll get into questions rather than kind of
I have a joke.
Oh, you have a joke? Oh, I should actually. I have a joke too. Okay.
Okay. I got.
Do we lead off with jokes first? Do you want to give me your joke and I'll give you my joke?
Yes. So I have a long one and a short one. So I'll start with a short one.
Okay.
Obviously, I went with farts because there's nothing funnier than a fart.
Sure.
So love is like a fart. If you have to force it, then it's probably shit.
Nice. I like it. I don't know if I've heard that one before.
It's a metaphor.
It is. It's nice. It's yeah. My so my short one. I'm terrible at telling jokes, so excuse me. But
Same.
I'm trying to take this slowly. So,
Okay.
most of the jokes. So that just as a bit of sort of preface in this, I love like really dad jokes, like really groaning sort of jokes. That's probably my.
They're
favorite
in
sort of
right
jokes
now.
to tell.
Dad jokes
Oh,
are in. Yes.
incredible. So okay, so here's my joke. Let me see if I can remember this properly. This is the short one. I remember the long one better, but it's fine. I'll do the short one first. So
Okay.
did I tell you about the new dog that I got?
No.
I got him from a locksmith. As soon as I brought him home, he made a bolt for the door. End of the joke.
That was terrible.
Yeah, isn't it awful? That's why I love it.
It's pretty bad.
Would you hear my long joke? That's even worse. I think what we should do is we should do a few questions now, and then we'll do our long jokes
Okay.
at the end. How about that?
Okay. Can I throw a fact at you, and then you can throw a question my way?
Yeah, hit me up.
Did you know that laughing is one of the first things that we do?
Oh, it's
3 months
children,
old?
it's babies.
Yes. That's smile and laugh. Like before you crawl, before you're eating real food, before you're doing any of those things. One of the first things we do when we're about 3 months old is we learn to laugh.
Nice, that's awesome.
I know.
That's lovely. I think it kind of makes sense as well, and I have such an association of my memories of our babies, or like interactions with babies, like friends, babies and stuff, is that like they crave it. Like, if you make them laugh, they're like, I want more of this, more laughs. Like what you were doing, that silly thing you were doing, keep doing it, and never stop doing it.
They'll do it forever. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great. It's a great audience. If you're feeling down, just get a baby to laugh at your jokes. Or your goofy nonsense.
What's your question?
Okay. So first question, I guess, would be, what makes you laugh? And that can be anything, I guess. What sort of comedy you like, or in life, I guess, as well.
I wrote, me, I prepared.
Nice.
So I wrote a list. I polled the family. So part of this is what makes us laugh as a family. And that kind of speaks to what you were saying about, like, I guess, laughing in community and being around other people. And, like, that is when you really remember, like, laughing. I love it when things are misspelled. or like a
Yes.
wrong word is used, and
Yes.
that just like cracks me up. I love Mad Libs. Like if you ever want to
Mm-hmm.
see me laugh until I cry, just give me a book of Mad Libs and I literally like I'll fall apart. Have I done this in front
Okay.
of you?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
okay. Tell me what Mad Libs are because
Oh yeah. Okay.
I have heard the term, and I think we have similar things, but I'm not sure what it is exactly.
Yes, it's like a little it's a children's game, but I'm a giant child.
Mm-hmm.
So you get it's like a little packet of questions that tells a story, and you get to fill in the noun, the adjective, the action word,
Yes.
and then it tells the story. We have one for Star Wars that we're filling out, and so
Nice.
but you don't know that the person that's asking you is like, give me a noun, give me an adjective, and then they read the story to you. So and it turns out to be complete and total nonsense. And of course, I throw in like fart, pooping, all of the grossest
Yeah.
words possible, and it just turns into something that is so um like I guess my sense of humor is like prepubescent child.
Yes.
So it's my
But
favorite
like,
thing.
I think everybody says to an extent, and I saw like a comedian I respect who does really kind of smart, funny humor, and they were like, if you don't understand that the foundations of comedy are pee and poo, then I don't know what to tell you.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Um, I guess one fun thing we do is, have you ever done upside down chin talk?
Oh yeah,
Where you, yes, where you like, you lay one way and then someone stands over you in the opposite direction and their chin becomes the face. It looks like it's like an optical illusion. Your chin becomes
Yes.
your face and it just looks super weird. My sister and I used to do it all the time, and I taught it to my kids. And now that was one of the things Harper was like, upside down chin talk, and I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
Nice.
And I really like tiny hamster videos.
Okay, just doing cute things, or like what are they doing in these
There's
videos?
one in particular that I watch when I'm feeling like I need to watch a tiny hamster video, and
Yeah.
it's someone makes tiny burritos. And then this hamster, I don't know if you know this about hamsters, but they have like giant cheek pockets. And
Yes.
so it keeps shoving these tiny burritos into its tiny cheek pockets until it's like bulging.
That's good
It
stuff.
Yeah, it's like grotesquely horrible looking, but you can tell that the hamster is very satisfied. So yeah, and there's like this genre on YouTube right now where they're making tiny food for hamsters, and they set up like a tiny dinner, and they have like a 5-course meal, and then the chef is like, oh, how we know, what did you think? And it's like this little adorable grody little hamster that's like whatever, pooping everywhere. So that's what
Love
makes
it.
me laugh.
Good one. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. How about you?
Um, yeah, that's and I thought about this as well. So like I guess what I love in comedy more than anything is like subverting expectations. Like I love truly like flipping something on its head. Building a setup and then just absolutely not delivering on what that's going to be. So like, and I guess in recent years, because I did the improv, and I know you did some improv
I
as
love.
well.
I did. Yeah, we have that in common. Improv is one
Like,
of my favorite drama genres to do.
yes. And like so like I feel like a lot of the podcasts I listen to are like I almost listen to exclusively comedy podcasts, and I used to listen to other sort of more information stuff, and I was just like, no, I want funny stuff in my ears as much as possible.
I should do
Um,
that. I just
what?
murder. I
Yeah, 'cause
listen
you
to
listen
like
to murder
sad books and
podcasts.
murder
Yeah,
podcasts,
yeah.
which are funny.
But
Like
like in
my
fairness,
favorite.
like
Yeah,
I was gonna say, in fairness, I do this and I'm still bloody depressed, so it's not making that much of a difference.
maybe you need some murder
Um,
podcast in your life.
maybe I do. Yeah.
And then
Maybe
you'll be
that's the
like, I'm so
answer.
grateful. No one tried to stab me and steal my
Today.
baby out of my stomach with a
Yeah.
knife.
Oh,
Yay!
yeah. Maybe I do need
Sorry.
that. Yeah. So it's that and I guess like I was thinking as well about stuff that I like. I mean, I really do like stuff like character based humor and stuff that is funny because you know the characters and you've spent time with them. But like also I really love like proper slapstick stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
Do you know there's a show from like the 70s or 80s, a British show called The Young Ones? Probably not.
No. No,
Okay.
I don't.
So it was like a fairly anarchic sort of, 70s, 80s show about these like four students living in a flat together, and it was just like crazy and ridiculous, and we're just going like very weird tangents. But then
A flat, just I have to translate, Andy. A flat is that like an apartment.
That's true. Thank you.
Okay, keep going.
So then the two of the characters from they're playing different characters. Then ended up doing a show in the 90s called Bottom, and they were like two housemates who lived together, losers who like, and it frequently got into like comedy sort of like fights with them like doing really extreme things to each other, and like when I think about laughing like till like I was crying, that's the thing that I think of, and it always did. I was like in pieces watching that show. So like that always makes me laugh a lot, and I guess like I don't, as I say, I think probably recent years like it's like I was thinking about all my the stand-ups that I like recently, and they're all like all the ones that I've liked recently are all like in hot water for one thing or
I know.
so,
I know,
like,
same.
I really like Louis C.K. and I really liked like Dave Chappelle and stuff like that, and like those guys. Both of those guys have done stuff, and I'm just like, dudes. But that is what it is.
I hearken all the way back to I still have my Half Baked poster, and I watch that movie over and over and over. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Love me some Dave Chappelle. I never really got into Louis C.K.
Like I think,
and I guess I was right.
Yes, you were. You're on the right side of history. The guy, like, I don't like, and I think I've always sort of gravitated towards American stuff in that way as well. Although, I mean, like, I do, there's UK stuff I like, and obviously the shows I was talking about were, but there's a comedian called Stuart Lee who I really like. I like his comedy is very much anti-comedy. Like, his comedy is about doing something so often, like he turns the crowd against him so often, and then he eventually brings them back just by repetition. And I think that nobody else does it as well as him.
What's his name again?
Stuart Lee.
Stuart Lee. Okay.
It's definitely worth watching the stuff and seeing if you like it. But like I think there's nobody else like him. There's also a guy. So I've been to Edinburgh Fringe a few times. You know what it is? Okay.
No.
It's like a month-long sort of comedy festival. Like basically, it's.
Oh wow!
I think you would love it. It basically I have friends that live in Edinburgh. They hate it because like the whole town becomes unusable for them. But basically, all of Edinburgh becomes like almost like a mini festival type thing. Like every venue in town is filled with like comedy shows of one variety or another, and I've been there a few times, and it's so much fun. It's such a blast.
That sounds amazing.
There. It's really good. Oh, I gotta forget his name. Every time there's a comedian I adore who, for some reason, his name just does not stick in my brain at all. I've seen him do every time I see him do something, he does something so radically different. It's always like this is incredible. It just makes me admire the sort of genre of comedy so much in terms of like how flexible it is. So the last time I saw him, he did he basically handed out tape recorders to about 10 audience members, and he asked them to hit play at certain points, and he'd recorded stuff in the tape recorders while he was doing a stand-up set, and he was doing like a call and response with these tape recorders as he was doing his set. It was incredible, and it was really funny.
Wow.
But his timing was just immaculate. Like and like my friend told me that they saw him this year, and he did something similar to that, except he had people actually reading stuff, which is even more fraught with danger, and they said it was incredible. It just worked so well. I will find his name whenever you're next talking.
Okay.
It so annoys me because I love him, but like I don't know why his name. I'm subscribed to his mailing list and stuff, and it's just for whatever reason I just can never remember his name. But yes,
it's because you're an idiot. I mean, obviously,
it's because I'm an idiot. Exactly. That's exactly why it is.
I was doing just a little bit of okay. I wanted to tell you something that I thought you would find interesting specifically. Did you know that there is a thing called Laughter Yoga International, and you can actually get certified in laughter yoga.
Okay, tell me more.
And so, obviously, there's like health benefits to it, laughing in general. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a fact about something I found from Scientific American, which is it's a magazine that comes out that's about Scientific Americans. Sorry, but I'm assuming anyone can read it. So we're 30 more times likely to laugh in a group than by ourselves. It helps us determine who our friends are. So if you're all laughing at the same thing, you know that you're all jerks. Or at least in my case. It increases our oxygen intake, which stimulates the heart, the lungs, the muscles, and releases endorphins. I'm assuming oxytocin too, but I don't know for sure. And then it can boost our immune system. So it does like all these amazing things for our body. And then I got this from the Irish Examiner, which I don't know if that's a real good paper, but because I was like, why do I cry when I laugh hard enough? And isn't that the best feeling ever? So it's actually like a physical thing that happens when we laugh a lot. It like contracts your facial muscles and and it actually like can put too much pressure on the tear ducts, and that's why you cry. Isn't that weird? I know.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's
Did you find the name of your person?
Yeah, he's called Daniel Kitson.
Daniel Kitson.
That's so interesting, and I'm now like, should I train up in laughter yoga?
Well, yeah, okay. So laughter yoga international, you can train. There's an online training that they have, and they focus on learning the art of laughing for no reason, which is like one of my favorite things ever. Real and contagious laughter, and then the science of breathing. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you and for me, but also for our listeners, because like obviously yoga is always a good idea, even if you don't want to do it. It's like you get on the mat, it's always a good idea. But wouldn't it be amazing to like put laughter in with your daily yoga practice, or like they have like online classes where you all just get together and laugh and do yoga, and I'm like, that sounds like what we did in Portugal in a tiny room. Where we had to,
I was going to say, obviously my classes are kind of, basically laughter yoga anyway.
Yeah,
so funny,
but you could be certified.
Yeah, that's true. I could be certified. Yeah. Okay, this is tempting. That's awesome. I love it. It makes a ton of sense. I mean, it really kind of fits with the whole sort of yoga vibes in a lot of ways, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So I think it's nice that there's almost an official, path to that.
I just found out this morning, and I have to do like some more deep diving into it, but I was like, oh, this is right up our alley. So
absolutely, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I'm gonna ask you another question.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Do you have anything that I guess maybe other people find funny that you don't find funny?
Ooh, that's a good question. When people get hit in the balls.
Yes.
Don't think that's funny.
I find generally when people, like, the way like people will fall down and some people be laughing their ass off, and I'm like, I don't get it. That's not me at all, because that person might be hurt, and that's not funny to me. Right. But like some people just find those things hilarious. Like,
did you ever have, they call it America's Funniest Home Videos? Did they show that in Ireland? Okay. That was like the whole premise of the show, was people falling down and hurting themselves, and like jumping off a roof and hurting themselves. And, I never really found the humor in that. It kind of made me feel bad. And I was more worried that they broke a bone.
Yeah. I think, like, I mean, I think we had our own version of it. What was it called? I can't remember. But it was kind of, it was always that. There was some that were nice. I think, like, if something happens and everybody's laughing, including the person that it's happened to, all good. Yes. I'm like, okay, great, whatever. But like, I suppose it's the same way with like pranks and stuff as well. Whenever there's a prank and it's a prank on a person, and it's kind of like affects them negatively, and only like it's only meant for like 50% of the people or whatever. I don't like that at all.
I don't either. And it's interesting. I'm thinking about like things that used to be funny that are no longer funny. Like the show Punk'd,
Yeah.
not didn't necessarily age well. I'm trying to. Off the top of my head, I can't think of. There are a lot, jokes that people would tell that, single out as a demographic of people. And I was looking through
Yes.
jokes, and it's like, this person, and this type of person walk into a bar, and I'm like, nope, not funny. Like you can't. Yeah. So it's interesting that, and those things I never found funny, and I guess like not to. I feel like the world is catching up a little bit on that.
That's true. I feel like that stuff's really lazy as well. Do you know what I mean? All too often, like
I have a husband who's Polish, so
yeah.
And light bulbs, right?
I do kind of like. I mean, one of my favorite sort of podcasts is. Basically, their whole stick is that, and it's not for everyone. I think a lot of people don't stay with it long enough to kind of see, but like it's their stick is that they're these high status Hollywood assholes, and they have people on, and they're really kind of jerks to them. But like, they are in reality, their characters are ultimately low status worms, and as soon as they get any sort of they'll melt immediately, and it's like
yes.
And I kind of love the dynamic of it, and like they've been doing it for so long now that it's just, I don't know, very comfortable to me. But yeah. So I suppose
what about you?
Things that don't make me laugh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess like really broad stuff, and like we have like. And I suppose that that would be the same for the US as well. Stuff that like the really sort of mainstream comedies that are just like too broad, too sort of daft. I guess. I mean, they're just not. There's not the sort of humor I like. They're not like. There's nothing clever about it. It's very sort of basic crap. That just doesn't work for me.
Like sitcoms.
Yeah. Like some are okay, but like a lot, like I remember like I would have watched a lot of like Big Bang Theory when I was younger, and it was funny stuff in there, and there was stuff I liked, but overall I was just like, yeah, I don't think I would watch this if the TV wasn't on, and somebody else had put it on, that sort of thing,
Yes.
I wouldn't seek it out, and I think that there's like, I don't know, I think that's a good example of a. One that's very much like, ha ha ha, these guys have interests that are not normal. Let's make fun of them,
Yeah. Yep.
So, I think that is a good example, I think, of what I'm talking about in terms of it's just not, I don't know, there's nothing really clever about that. It seems really, it's low-hanging fruit, I guess is the term I'm looking for, it's just like, what's funny, nerds, okay, cool. Here we go. Here's your nerds. Let's laugh.
Right.
Aren't they different than us? They play D&D, etc., etc.
Yeah, I was thinking like which sitcoms. I guess the only two that I've really stuck with are obviously The Simpsons.
Yes.
And not really. But I did I don't know. I mean, when I lived with my parents, I watched a lot. We watched The Simpsons like every night. And then in college, I dated someone, and that was like their entire week was built around Simpsons night.
Wow, I love it.
And so so that was a thing in college. But I also grew up like where it was, Matt Groening's from Eugene, I think, and Springfield, and we had the big nuclear reactor up in Washington that actually they blew those up. And here's something funny.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of laughter that I do like. Sorry, this is weird. I really like these videos where they blow things up and they put little like eyes and arms on whatever they're blowing up.
And they're
falling over and like, no. So they did that with the Trojan power plant. So that like you can't live in that area and not really like The Simpsons. But they're just like so clever, pulling things from all books and all history and all of that, and daughter of a historian. I was like, I get that reference, and it felt so good to get the reference, and it was still funny when you didn't. And South Park.
I mean, yes. Oh yeah, I love South Park as well. I think like Simpsons, but the time when you were like what's not your folks and stuff would have been a time when it was like it was so good.
So good.
It was incredible.
It was
incredible.
Just so
sharp and funny and really good observations and just like really kind of fun sort of skewering of like whatever was going on in the world at the time as well. It was just it was so good.
And they did it in just the right way.
They did.
Yeah.
And there's so much of so much stuff that is still in my brain. I still think about to this day. Like things like one of my favorite Simpsons bits ever, and that made me laugh the most was whenever Lisa was had fallen for Nelson, and she passed a note back in class, and she gave it to Milhouse, and Milhouse gave it to Nelson. And the shot was you saw Nelson open the note. Nelson opened the note, and you saw the note, and it said, "Someone likes you." And he looked up at Milhouse, and Milhouse waggled his eyebrows at him. And then it was a hard cut to an ambulance, and Milhouse was getting in the back of the ambulance. Oh, it's so good. And I also and I still describe myself as my lifelong ambition is to be in. Non-threatening boys magazine, the magazine that Lisa had.
I don't remember. No. Non-threatening boys.
There's a magazine Lisa used to get called Non-Threatening Boys magazine. I was like, I want to be the centerfold or at least our front cover. I'll take either.
I remember the Sideshow Bob. Sideshow Bob, so funny. I could go on, and really I think with South Park, I enjoy Terrence and Phillip the most because it's all about pooping and farting.
Oh, they're so
and
good.
Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo.
Yes.
And Telly.
Telly's so good. Oh, the freaking the bit that really makes me laugh, and the bit that still sticks with me was when they were trying to get Telly. He was trying to take them into the base. And he was playing Take Me Down to Funky Town on the security pad. oh God, it was so good.
I watched one we lived with Mike's parents for 3 months before we moved here, and so every night was South Park night because his dad loved South Park. And there was one episode that came out not too long ago. It was about Hummels. You know what Hummels are? They're those little they're little figurines that are like children doing very innocent things.
Okay.
You find them at garage sales, and they're collectibles. It's a thing.
The sort of
yes.
Thing you mean.
So Hummels, but it was Hummels and heroin. So it was Cartman's grandma was trading Hummels or trading heroin in order to get more Hummels for the retirement community. And she had the most Hummels, and so she was the head lady, and everyone was kowtowing to her. And it was so, but then all the kids are getting hooked on drugs. It was so bad. It was so bad. So his dad, he keeps certain ones like written down. He's like, let's watch this one tonight. And so, yeah.
Nice. I've dipped in and out of it over the years, but it's always. I mean, whenever I do occasionally go back, I'm like, it's still funny.
Watch Hummels and Heroin, so good. I will Please write it down, and I want a full report.
I'm doing it.
And then there's another one that isn't appropriate for me to talk about here. So, but I'll send you a message about that one on the sly.
Oh, please do. Okay. Do you have any? Well, I've got another one, but if you've got any for me, because I've been asking you questions.
What do you? What don't you? Not really. Keep going.
Okay.
So that's the one thing I didn't do.
No, that's great. And so
I guess do you ever do boys pee when they laugh? Is that a thing, or is that just
to me before?
Okay, good.
Yeah, probably. I would say so. Not that I'd ever admit it, of course, but absolutely.
No, right.
I mean,
not that I'd admit it, but absolutely.
Yeah, I've definitely done that. Yeah, I mean, I'll not admit it in company, but I will do it in a podcast. Apparently. So I'd say so, yeah.
Okay, good. That makes...
Like,
It's a pelvic floor thing. That makes me feel better.
yeah. So oh no, I'm not going to talk about this. So that's just something that occurred to me, but I'm not going to talk about. So my next question for you was like, what are you finding funny these days?
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time you kind of had a big laugh that you can remember?
What am I finding funny these days? Exploiting my children.
Yes.
So we went camping, and I think we had one too many afternoon cocktails, and Mike and I both decided it was time to let them just, because we swear in our house. We just do. It's just,
Yeah.
I was raised in a house where my dad swore and everything but the F word.
Yeah.
He could weave tapestries. It was amazing. And so, with his words. And so, yeah, we were like, all right, like, we're going to give you an hour. Go for it. And so they were just like, but then they didn't understand context. And so, like, they were saying things that didn't make any sense, but there was a swear word in there, right? Like,
I love it.
Yeah, so, but then we started to teach him context, and Charlie being like, this hot dog is fucking good, right? Was so good.
Oh, that's good.
Camping is a fucking shit.
Yeah, you told me. Oh, that's such a good one.
This is shitty shit. So that's funny to me right now. And then we got home, and they've tried it out. We were like, no, like, there's a time and a place, and not around other people, and I'm a horrible parent, and I'm but they're gonna learn context for swear words. That's
and they're
a
going to
must.
learn context of other kids, and it's going to be a nightmare. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of these things that's inevitable, really. So yeah, it's better that they know from experienced swear users.
It's true. It's true.
Right,
And I think I'm gonna like piggyback on what you said about like being around other people and laughing really hard. Yeah. I think, not to keep talking about Portugal, but I don't think I've laughed that hard. I hadn't laughed that hard in years, to be like totally honest. And like, I just remember Alexa like running around with her barriers, like lighting incense everywhere, and like and just some of the like hijinks we were getting into, and like trying to find Leah, and like the Pope was there when we were there, and trying to like, we walked all around that city, they closed all the streets so no Ubers could go anywhere, and then they shut down any kind of GPS, so you couldn't find your way anywhere, and you didn't know where you were, and it was just like us trying to find our way. Like, in retrospect, like, I think about those times, and like I do laugh to myself about that. And then finally us just like ending up at, what was the name of the big place that had all the restaurants, top side, top right.
No, wait, Time Out, the Time Out Market.
Time Out. We were at the Time Out Market, and I was like, I need 2 glasses of wine, and like, I'm gonna eat this fish, and it was just like, so like, all of us were sweating because it was like 95 degrees out, and then like, we finally got Leah there, picking us up, and then we went to that monastery in the cloud forest, and I'm like bending over, and Alexa's just like standing there taking photos of my butt.
Yes, I remember that.
And sending them to me and laughing her ass off. So I think right now I like it when people laugh at me.
Yes. I hear you.
Because it makes me, I feel loved and appreciated. And I mean that sincerely.
True.
So,
yes.
What about you?
I do have real memories of laughing a lot then. I'm trying to think of any sort of recent one. I guess I was thinking, like, even like I got like I did genuinely get back. So I was teaching yoga tonight, and I did get a big laugh because I started the class with I always like to tell them what we're going to do. I give them a brief overview, and I said, so folks, tonight we're going to have a core focus class. I was like, yay, core focus, and then they're like, boo, and they're giving me grief, whatever. And then I was like, so if that sounds good to you, and then I was like, actually, even if it doesn't sound good to you, lie down. We're going to start with a breathing exercise. And I got a laugh telling them that it doesn't matter to me, basically. So that was quite nice. It's always nice.
You're under my total control.
Yes, very much. So there's nothing you can do. You're here now. So it's always, I always, it's, yeah, that was a guess a laugh for me, but I guess that was more of an ego boost because like, yeah, when we get a big laugh, it's like, yeah, give me that sweet hit again, that sweet dopamine hit.
It's true.
It's so true.
Everyone's like anti-ego right now, and I'm like, no, it's got its purpose.
It does.
It's got its purpose.
Absolutely. Let me see. Shall we do one more and then a joke?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have we're supposed to have talked about shows. Okay. This is one I haven't asked. Do you have a particular memory of something funny? So something maybe like older.
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking about this today when I was like, I think I find humor in experiences that I have that are totally like weird and crazy. So obviously this one time at Burning Man, I was with my friend Claudia, and we used to get in early because we had a theme camp, and so there were like you could get on any art car, you could go anywhere, you could crawl on any art piece, and we ended up on this art car called Dogfish, which was, they would just serve you shot after shot after shot, and it's one of those you have to like run and like hop on one of the stools on the side. They don't slow down.
Yes.
Like you just get on, and so we had shot after shot, and like somehow I ended up with her. We're both smoking cigars, and like once you get to Burning Man, like your whole purpose is to find a porta potty the entire time. You're just like,
okay,
you're en route, you're doing something. You're like, oh, we're gonna go see, DJ Tiesto play, but I actually need to go to the porta potty. So you're like, oh, there he's playing, but the porta potty's over there. So we're gonna dance by the porta potty. I'm like, this is okay. Now I have two stories. One time, we wanted to go to Base Nectar, who I know has been canceled, but this was pre-Base Nectar being canceled. And so we're like at Base Nectar's show, but we wanted to be able to pee while we were listening. And so we parked by the porta potty, and Mike put on, because we had this huge art car, and he put on Base Nectar. So it's so meta. We're at a Base Nectar show, listening to Base Nectar at the art car, and just like drinking alcohol and just peeing in the porta potty. So it was funny to me.
That's
I don't
nice.
know. Yeah.
No,
and then, so then I end up, I don't know how or why, but I end up smoking a cigar, wearing a mustache, a fake mustache, handing her my boots, and being like, I'm going in the porta potty to pee. And she's like, cool. And it's like, I'll hold your boots. And it's just like one of those moments where if I was in my right mind, the whole thing is just like, what is happening here?
Yes.
And there are photos.
Festivals are so good for that, really, aren't they? Like,
yes.
I mean, in terms of those sort of ridiculous moments, because the recent ones that came to mind when I was writing this down earlier was the festival that I was at earlier on the summer, and we were like on mushrooms, and we'd find this wee grove that was close to a stage, and we're just like laughing our asses off listening to the music. It was so much fun. But yeah,
it happens like that, or you end up puking in the porta potty on mushrooms. Yay!
Yes, that's not
which in retrospect is funny.
Yes, exactly. Not at the moment, but afterwards, yeah. So I gotta say, a friend used to like really graphically talk about like sex.
We haven't touched on this at all. This is the whole go.
It's true.
Yeah.
And like he would like, I remember one of my friends had a like what do you call it, chalkboards now? Chalkboard, and he had some chalk, and he had in his front room for whatever reason, and like this guy was doing the most disgusting diagrams, but I was like tears laughing and just cracking up. It used to make me absolutely crease up. So like I still have strong memories of that. So yeah, that's probably one from really back in the day. I reckon I could probably find more if I was really kind of thinking about it. But that's probably something that really kind of sticks in my head. I do remember as well being like whenever I was in North Carolina, I worked for the library for a while, and we did.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm from a family of librarians.
Yeah. So it was really nice. It was the people that we worked with were so lovely, and basically people would send in requests for excerpts from books. We would find the books, we would photocopy them, and we would send them to people. And after we done this, we and it was like it was the end of the year. The librarians all took us out for dinner, and I remember it being such a lovely time. And like they had, going back to the Simpsons, they made us all like these big bibs. I think I found pen again fairly recently, within the past 2 or 3 years, and mine said "remorseless eating machine," which was from whenever like Homer was at the whatever the kind of sea captain in Simpsons had like a seafood restaurant, and Homer was like lifting up entire like crates of lobsters, and the sea captain was describing it was a remorseless eating machine, and it was just a very kind of joyful, fun sort of event,
Yes. I love it. Do you remember the episode? Sorry, I just want to talk about The Simpsons now. Do you remember the episode where he had that, like, he bought, like, the 6-foot sandwich and he couldn't stop eating it? And it was going bad and he started, like, tripping out. And he's like, oh, forbidden sandwich. Yes. That's one of my favorite ones. I think about that a lot, actually. When we have, like, old food and I'm like, is this a forbidden blank? Like, is this, are we getting into forbidden sandwich territory?
I think it speaks to the longevity of that show. I mean, there's so many little bits that just come up. We were talking about Lee Carvalho's putting challenge recently, which was basically, it was an episode where Bart wanted like this really ultraviolet video game called Bladestorm. Instead, they were like, well, what about Lee Carvalho's putting challenge? And we found like basically this this guy has created that as a web game that you can play. It's so good.
But it's true. It's like, I watched that episode, I think, in high school, and I still remember it. Or maybe college. Yeah. I don't want to date I don't remember, but, it was a long time ago.
It was. It speaks to the quality of that show back then,
it's
like
true.
How resonant that is, But yeah.
Can I ask you a question that isn't, I just popped into my head, but do you actively seek out things that you will probably laugh or have like a good enough time to have a guffaw?
Yes, I think that's true of all areas of my life, right? I think I like to actively seek out, music and TV and things that make me laugh. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do. I really do, and I'm like, if there's somebody who I have seen be funny in something before, and it's like, oh, they're doing something else, I'll make an effort to kind of check that out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do. I really do.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I don't do that enough, and I wonder like how my life would change and what my perspective would be like, just like on a daily basis if I did make that more of a priority. It's like glimmers and joy, but like, what about laughing, right?
It's true.
And I don't think enough focus goes there.
It's true.
I think it's like, let's talk about, it's not like the buzzwords these days, like gratitude, but it's like, what about laughing?
It's true. And I mean, I think that's exactly why I try to listen to comedy stuff for the most part. Do you know what I mean? It just works well for me. Like, I think it's, and what I've realized, and I think it's podcasts generally, it's the personality that I'm there for. I love, these people, do you know what I mean? I love who they are and kind of how they interact with other people. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to, I mean, like, I have a lot of free time. You have kids, so like, it's easy for me to really kind of, to really dive into this stuff in a way that I think a lot of other people either can't or don't,
Mm-hmm. I like that. I'm going to make more of an effort. I typically don't, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I do try and do it. And I think I'm going to work harder at, like, injecting a little bit. Yeah, I think so too. Just stop being right all the time, Auntie.
It's so hard for me, though.
I know.
That's my natural state of being,
You're like, you will laugh. I don't care. This is just going to happen. Okay, are you ready?
Exactly.
Are you ready for a joke? Okay.
Yeah, hit me up.
All right. A woman goes to her boyfriend's parents' house for dinner. I got this off of, I think it's an Irish or a British website, so I'm going to have a hard time reading it because it's a different lexicon. This is to be her first time. Sorry, it's already weird. Meeting the family, she's very nervous. They all sit down and begin to eat a fine meal. The woman is beginning to feel a little discomfort thanks to her nervousness in the broccoli casserole. The gas pains are almost making her eyes water. Left with no choice, she decides to relieve herself a bit and lets out a dainty fart. It wasn't loud, but everyone at the table heard the poof. Before she had a chance to be embarrassed, her boyfriend's father looked over at the dog that had been snoozing under the woman's chair and said in a rather stern voice, "Skippy." The woman thought, "This is great," and a big smile came across her face. A couple minutes later, she began to feel the pain again, and this time she didn't hesitate. She let a much louder and longer rip. The father looked again at the dog and yelled, "Damn it, Skippy." Once again, the woman smiled and thought, "Yes!" A few minutes later, the woman had to let another rip. This time, she didn't even think about it. She let the fart rip that rivaled a train whistle blowing. Once again, the father looked at the dog with disgust and yelled, "Damn it, Skippy, get away from her before she shits on you."
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I see what you mean about the lingo for sure. Like, it is definitely written in that sort of cadence or the lingo, like you say. Yeah, yeah.
Begin eating a fine meal, like we'd just be like eating dinner. And I had to, this is to be her first time meeting. Yeah.
It's so funny. I wouldn't have thought of that as a or like a sort of Irish UK way to speak, but it absolutely is very Irish, I think.
Yes.
This is to be. Okay.
Ta-da!
I like that. Okay, so again, like, it's a dad joke. It's kind of long. I think what I love about long dad jokes is that you kind of got to make it a little bit excruciating. Okay. So this is one that's logged into my head, so I should be able to tell it. Okay.
This is out of your brain and your memory.
This is out of my brain. This is one of the very few jokes I've remembered. I've had jokes in the past that I've liked. I always forget them, but this one, for whatever reason, is logged in there forever. Okay. So the world's foremost wasp expert is walking past a record store. And in the window of the record store, he sees a record and it says, the world's top 10 wasp noises. And he goes, "Perfect, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is right up my alley." So he walks into the record store and he says to the guy, "Look, can I hear some of this record?" The guy goes, "Yeah, of course." Puts a record on and he plays track 1. And the wasp expert's listening and he goes, "This doesn't sound, I've never heard this before. This is like, what's going on here? Like, I know everything there is to know about wasps, but this isn't, I don't know this." And he goes, "Can you play the next track?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course." Plays the next track. And again, he's like, I know everything there is to know about wasps. How do I not know this? Can we skip on a few? Can we listen to like track 6 or whatever? And he goes, yeah, no worries. Puts on track 6. Once again, completely stymied. Doesn't know the sound at all. And he's like, "This is ridiculous." And he goes, like, I've spent my whole life studying this stuff, and like I've listened to 3 of these now, and I don't recognise them at all. Do you know what's happening here? And the record store owner picks up the record and he goes, it's on the B-side. End of joke. You know it's a good joke when you've got to go end of joke at the end of the joke.
I should have given you like 4 seconds of silence.
Oh, you should have. Yeah. Just let me die in that moment, which I freaking love dying on joke.
Very nice. Very good.
Yeah. I really like, I ideally under, other circumstances, I really like to torture that joke in terms of like have him listen to every track and go into real excruciating detail about each one. But, I'm going to save you the full brutality of it for that awful payoff. Right.
Also, I love whoopee cushions. Yeah.
We had an amazing wedding. I went to a friend's wedding. I was going to say not so long ago. It was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago now. In fact, maybe even longer. And he had...
Time is relative. Time is a construct.
You're telling me. And he had like whoopee cushions and stuff at the wedding, and it was incredible because like some other friends had kids there, and we were running around like putting whoopee cushions on people's chairs and stuff like that. It was so much fun.
That's such a good idea.
It was so nice. It was a lovely idea. I thought, yeah.
I've never heard of that, and I used to be an event planner.
Yeah, it's a great idea, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, I suppose like it has to be the right sort of event with the right sort of people, and this very much was, But it was lovely. It was so much fun.
That's so funny. I would have been like trying to like fart them down the aisle though.
No, fortunately they saved them for the reception.
Okay,
so
good.
It wasn't like they didn't have them in the church, which was smart. Very smart.
Okay, I have one more story. This isn't so Mike's parents, I'm sure they'll be fine if I tell the story. So in college, Mike's dad was a photographer. So he would like take photos of people getting married, and his mom would help, set stuff up and be the second camera person. And these two people decided to get married on horseback. Ooh. And like Ooh. Walking down the aisle on horseback. Ooh. And he's snapping all the pictures, and he tells the story so much better than I do. I know this about myself, and I'm sorry everyone, I'm a horrible storyteller. But basically, as soon as they got to the aisle, both horses started dropping horse apples and just shot their way all the way down the aisle. And he had to be like, here are your wedding photos. They're covered in horse shit.
I would like to think they would expect that. I mean, if they know horses, I'm guessing that they did. You know, that's part of the story. As it should be like.
Right. So somewhere out there, those people are maybe still married, but probably not.
Yeah, this is true. Hopefully still on horses as well.
Right.
Just living their lives there.
On a horse.
On a horse forever.
In a diaper.
Oh God, that would be good. That diaper would get nightmares fast. So we were talking about, because we went to see Killers of Flower Moon the other night.
Oh, how was it?
It was good.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth a watch. But like, it's 3.5 hours long, and it was like, we're just gonna have to get some adult diapers. Like, it's just
yeah.
What else are you
Mike,
supposed to do?
Yeah, Mike we both do dry suit diving, and he has a pee catheter that he uses now, so it just like goes right out of the suit, and it's like nice. It's like a pee condom he puts on, but it's like got glue, and it's like but it's like it's never good. It's always a little torturous, and he's trying to get it off. But for a while he was like, you should just wear diapers. I'm like, I'm not wearing diapers, and you can order like adult diaper sample packs. So every so often I'll get an order when he's feeling like it for whatever, for Depends or whatever, and I'll be like, I don't need an adult diaper. Not yet. I know someday, but not yet.
Wow.
Such a jerk.
Such
a jerk. Yeah. I mean, it's the joke that keeps on giving. This has been like 10 years of this.
And I mean, like, Beth, will come a day when you'll be like, I'm so glad we have these adult diapers.
Will come a day I'm saving them for you, and I'm sending them to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to use them at Burning Man next year.
Here you go. Which we need to talk about, but that's an offline topic.
That's an off-pod thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We will podcast from Burning Man.
Hell yeah, that's going to be a naughty episode. Okay, so starting to wind down.
Yeah.
So, Beth, the question.
Yes, I know. What is it, Andy?
Beth, what's bringing you joy this week?
What is bringing me joy this week, Andy? Honestly, I think it was a singular moment, and when we were camping. I woke up. I had to pee. It must have been like 2 a.m. or something. And so I got out of the tent and I walked outside, and it was totally black. And I've never seen so many stars. And it was just like me standing there. Like, I could see like parts of the Milky Way. It was millions and millions and millions of stars. And it was really cool. And I really,
I love that.
I'm not used to seeing the sky this time of year.
Yeah.
Or like for somewhere between 6 and 9 months. So it's like little things like, and like there was an eclipse here last Monday. Did I tell you this already?
I think you did. That's the
Did I say it on an episode?
Maybe.
Okay, well then I'll stop. But anyways, it's just, I love seeing the sky. And yesterday was cloudy, and I was like immediately like, oh, this again. Like I felt it in my mood. So I'm just I'm really finding joy in the fact that I can see blue sky and I can see stars and I can see the sun and I don't have to get on an airplane to fly above it in order to access it.
Yeah.
And it's that is literally bringing me joy this week.
That's awesome.
That's or at least a glimmer.
Yes, and which is all you can ask for some weeks, right?
What about you?
Yeah, I know. I didn't bring anything. I guess I think that I suppose what has I mean the choir that I'm kind of involved with and like I'm doing a lot of organizing and stuff for it but like they hearing people sing together always brings me joy. So like even though I'm quite stressed about how it's all coming together and all the sort of minutiae of like putting these things together, actually hearing people sing, actually seeing them all laughing and having a good time in rehearsal really brings me joy. So that's been quite lovely. And it reminds me why I'm doing all,
Yeah. I love that. I remember I used to plan events for college that I worked at for a decade. And it wasn't like, oh, you're planning a wedding. It was like, oh, you're planning the inauguration or you're planning the centennial celebration for like 3,000 people. And I remember just those moments of like working on something for so long. And, no one sees what you're doing in the background, right? No one sees how hard it is to coordinate everything and put it all together and find a space and make sure people show up on time. And then to sit there and look and see everyone enjoying something or being part of something.
Yeah.
And then just being like, yeah. And not even I did that, but like this is happening.
Yes.
And look at how much everyone's enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a different feeling to actually being part of it. It really is, and it's nice, I've got to say. And I mean, like, you certainly have organised things before, but nothing at this scale, so it is nice to be part of something this big, for sure. It really is. So yeah, that's kind of what's been bringing me joy this week.
Glad.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad it's like turned out to be something good. I mean, I knew it would anyway, but
I'm excited. I am not right now. I'm really excited for us to actually put our show on and kind of see what comes from that, because I think that's going to be a real sort of proof of the pudding sort of thing, and also kind of getting to that point is going to feel like a real sort of achievement, I think, as well. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, exciting and bringing me joy in some ways, for sure.
Good. I love it. Well, you want to wrap it up?
Yep. So thanks for joining us as always, folks. It's been lovely to have you. So as always, as we like to end our episodes, we will ask you to stay bendy.
We did it right. You're welcome, everyone.
Bye. We love you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Bendy, a Beth and Andy podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast and find us on social media to keep up to date on what silly things we're up to. You can listen to all of our episodes, submit ideas for future podcast topics, ask us for advice, or submit a fart joke to bendypodcast.com. A huge thank you to you, our wonderful listeners, for supporting this passion project that gets us laughing every week. Our next topic is childhood, where we talk about why Andy was the only kid in primary school wearing Superman pajamas, and Beth's relationship with jellyfish. So please tune in to find out why we are the way we are, products of our upbringing. Thanks so much for being here.